Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I wanted to offer my thoughts on The Naked Gun, the sort of reboot sequel. It's really more of a sequel to the original, I guess it was three films that came out in the 80s, maybe leading up into the early 90s. I can't remember when Naked Gun 33 to Third was released, but just saw it with my wife. We caught an early morning screening here in our area. And I got to say, going into this, it had generated a lot of critical praise. I mean, if you look, it's at like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 77% audience score or something like that. I thought it was actually pretty awful. People are going to disagree with me on this, I'm sure. And I want to preface this by saying that the original Naked Gun movie with Leslie Nielsen is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like, I think it's hilarious. I will rewatch that movie. I love it. I think it's great. To me, this not only did it not really capture the spirit of that movie, it has some of the same types of gags. I just didn't think the script was that good in terms of the jokes that the actors were able to sort of unspool and let sort of unravel as they sort of went with them. I would say in this film, there were maybe one to two legitimately funny moments. One of them has to do with a snowman. If you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. The other was sort of a prolonged reference that starts at the beginning of the film and then shows up at the end. That part I thought was moderately funny, but everything else I thought was painfully unfunny. Like, I don't understand how this has done so well with audiences and critics, honestly. In fact, at the showing we went to, which was pretty crowded, I would say more crowded than you would expect for a Sunday morning, especially. On the way out, I saw one person asleep. I think the movie was met with kind of muted laughter at different parts throughout. I don't really understand why this has appealed to so many people. I think it's just maybe the silly kind of dumb nature of the jokes and some of the one-liners. But I don't know. I thought it mostly fell pretty flat consistently throughout. And I was actually kind of in awe of how unfunny I found the movie as it went on. I appreciate how it made a concentrated effort, of course, to try and, I don't know, simulate or mimic what you would have with the original Naked Gun movies. But I just didn't find it that funny at all, And, coming into this review, if you had watched my most recent sort of movie roundup video, I had suggested that I wanted to wait until I'd seen a few films, then sort of get my thoughts out on that. I'm making this video to try and save people a little bit of money in that, you see the reviews for this, you see sort of the audience reaction, and you might think, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be hilarious. And I love stupid humor. Like, I love dad jokes. That's like my thing. I'm an early 40-something dad. I love that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought the delivery of the jokes, the way they were staged, like none of it was really that funny at all to me. So I was sorely disappointed in this movie. In fact, my wife on the way home said, if you're going to make a movie review of this, I have, half a mind to jump in on it because I so actively dislike this. Like, usually she'll find something that she likes in just about every movie we see, but by the time it was over, she almost fell asleep. And she said, that is one of the unfunniest things I've seen in years. And so I don't get it. This is one of those instances where I think I've never disagreed more with sort of the general critical response, and I guess the audience response from what I've seen to a movie, than what is the case here. I just legitimately don't understand why people have found this movie so funny. Like, they would deliver gags that very clearly were meant to generate kind of uproarious laughter, and I was just sitting there like, it's just not that great. Like, it just doesn't really ring hilarious to me. It doesn't have sort of that kind of innate comic timing that was part of the original set of movies, especially the original movie with Leslie Nielsen. And it's probably unfair to compare what Leslie Nielsen was able to accomplish to what, Liam Neeson is being asked to do here. And I will say Liam Neeson is fine. Pamela Anderson are both fine. But in my opinion, they didn't have a whole lot to work with. Again, some funny moments, but mostly this was just sort of flat and not great. It just was not a good movie. So you may disagree with me. Maybe there are some moments that stood out for you as being especially funny. If you want to articulate what those are in the comments, let me know. I'm trying to keep this relatively spoiler-free for those that are going to see it, but I would not recommend seeing this in a theater. If you've got any kind of interest, I would wait until this is free streaming somewhere and then check it out, but that's just my thoughts on it. So if you've seen the new Naked Gun, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.